You're listening to the Trading Bear Podcast. This is episode 36, The Daily Show.
Mystery player. Position.
Forward.
Start price.
£1.04.
Current price.
£1.33.
PB.
9p.
MB.
7p.
Dividend yield.
11.5%. Welcome back. Thanks for joining again. In the news today, as Liverpool and Manchester City continue to jostle for their Premier League title, PSG and Juventus wrap up Liga and Serie A once more with a month to spare. Juventus Director of Sport, Fabio Paratici, stating afterwards on the rumours of Dybala leaving, "Of course Dybala will stay. He's a Juve player and it's obvious he will certainly remain." That after Ronaldo also declared that he will be staying. 1,000% sure, he said when asked. Over in the Liga, a stormy season for Real Madrid briefly saw a sea of calm today, with a Benzema hat-trick securing a 3-0 home win over Atletico Bilbao. Those 3 goals amazingly put Benzema to the second highest goal scorer in the Liga this season, behind you-know-who. 8-5 now then for Benzema, with only 4 more needed to beat his best ever season's tally. He put his recent form down to Zidane, stating, "Zidane's return to the club means so much. Everyone is so happy with him, and I'm looking forward to next season. Aren't we all, Kareem? Aren't we all?" And lastly in the news today, heading back to the EPL, the 6-man shortlist for Player of the Season was announced on Saturday. The pack is led by 2 names thought to be the standout picks in Raheem Sterling and Virgil van Dijk. Now remember, the votes have already been cast, so whoever wins the title will have no bearing on who wins. Indeed, the winner will be announced in the next week or so, before the title is likely decided. I ran a poll on my Twitter, @TradingBear1, over the weekend to get the traders' thoughts. 60% of you went for Sterling, leaving 40% of you going for Van Dijk. Regardless who wins, it's sure to create a lot of envy. And we continue our theme of winners as we look at today's riser. And it's 26-year-old Moroccan Champions League semi-finalist Hakem Ziyech. The Ajax maestro has risen 30p today to sit at £2.03 on the back of multiple UK papers reporting that the playmaker has a 25 million release clause in his contract, and with this has attracted the attention of Liverpool, Manchester United and Arsenal. Now, on the back of their superb season, both in the domestic league as well as Europe, multiple players have been linked with moves away. The likes of Neres, Tagliafico, Delight, De Jong already signing for Barcelona of course, but be wary here. Not everyone will leave and prices will drop as fast as they have risen in recent weeks. With that said, I do think this summer we'll see the exit of Ziyech. As one of the more senior members, even at the fairly youthful age of 26, Ziyech looks set to depart Ajax after 3 years at the club, rejecting a move to Roma last season and almost certainly joining an established Champions League team this time around. Ultimately, you never know what the summer transfer window will bring, however, and that leads us nicely into today's faller. Down 12p to sit at £7.86, the man currently second in the overall Football Index ratings, Paul Pogba, continues both his own personal and Manchester United as a club alarming drop in form, to coincide with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer being awarded the job at Old Trafford on a full-time basis. As far as the reasons on the pitch and his lack of PB, penalties aside, this has been due to a switch in tactics, with United now playing 2 up front to accommodate both Rashford and Lukaku, rather than one or the other. This in turn has pushed Pogba to a wide centre position in midfield, rather than in a more centrally advanced position, and has completely changed his attacking potential. However, Pogba being Pogba, a string of bad performances is never a bad thing in Football Index terms, and as Catwoman said to Bruce Wayne in The Dark Knight Rises, there's a storm coming. Don't forget, in the months of June and July, the top 5 in the MB daily rankings will receive dividends, and with Zidane's recent comments, you can expect Pogba to be sniffing around those top 5 places all summer long. And if you'd like to see those players that have finished in the top 5 positions, the most so far this season, head over to my Twitter page, @TradingBear1, where the folks at Index Gain have produced a great graph detailing this exact stat. Definitely one to spend 5 minutes looking over if you haven't already. Next, we continue the show's newest feature, looking at a prospect player, a player who I feel could do well in the near future. For today's player, we look at a player already very well known and producing well in recent weeks, but nonetheless a player who could expect to continue to do well in the next week or so. And it's Spurs' South Korean goal machine, Son Heung-min. Now priced at £1.52, the former Leverkusen striker, still only 26, has a great game coming up on Tuesday at home to severely struggling Brighton, whose manager Chris Hughton is having to face disgruntled fans from those on the south coast, with more and more calling for his head. Bournemouth recently beat them 5-0 on their own patch, and I can see Spurs doing a similar job on them in the new White Hart Lane. The likes of Lucas Moura may also be a good option, but I've gone for Son as he's in red-hot form and thrives after the absence of Harry Kane. After that home game with Brighton, they have another home game with a London derby against West Ham, before of course hosting their third home game in a row with the first leg of the Champions League semi-final against Ajax next Tuesday. 3 home games in the space of 7 days then for Spurs, and so Son Heung-min is today's prospect player. Moving into your questions now then. And today's first question comes via Twitter from Index Chris. And Chris wants to know, with recent continued falls for both Messi and Ronaldo, when do you think both will become value? Great question this, Chris, and a question certainly that's been discussed many a time across the forums, across Twitter, across Index Game. The quick answer here being, I think they both provide value over the extra media summer months. Starting with Messi, if you currently hold him, I'd continue to hold and ignore the price movements. He's as good as PP players you ever find. He has a semi-final against Liverpool and Copa America in the summer. Everything to like there. If you don't already hold, then I would actually wait until either A, Barcelona get knocked out of the UCL, or B, after the Champions League finishes, whichever applies first. The reason being that he'll drop for sure after that event, and that will be a great time to pick him up for the summer media dividend bonus. As for Ronaldo, the timeline for purchasing is much quicker. He looks to have finally bottomed out, and at a current price of £2.16, for me now represents good value. Indeed, I purchased some of Ronaldo today. I held him at the start of the season and sold pretty much as soon as the news broke about his alleged off-the-field matters, but now down to a price of just over £2, he sits a very lowly 33rd in the overall rankings. He's still great for MB and far from poor for BB. Another great player then for the extra top 5 payouts, and for myself at his current price now, the expected future dividends now outweigh any potential future price drops. Today's second question comes from Christopher in Wigan, and Christopher wrote, with the summer transfer players now in full flow, when is the optimum time to purchase PP players back for next season? Chris, there's no real wrong answer to this as to when to buy back the PB players. The perennial PB hitters, those without MB appeal, have been dropping for a while now, the likes of Kimmich and Thiago at Bayern, Kanji at Dortmund and Pereira at Valencia, who incidentally provided another assist today. However, I would still personally hold off a few weeks and monitor their individual price graphs until it flattens out and you know any soft money has been taken out of the player, at which point it becomes fairly safe to get back on board. A similar concern on BB players selling and buying was talked about in December, before the January break, and the sell-off never really materialised, other than for a week or so. Traders quickly began to buy back those players that had a winter break, even before the break had started, so using this as a barometer, maybe as soon as the current season ends in May will be the best time to jump back on those BB players, but as I say, there's no real wrong answer as to when to buy back BP players, and it all depends upon your personal strategy trading style. And that's it for this episode. You can download and subscribe to the show on iTunes, Spotify and Podbean. Head over to the website to send in a question, tradingbearpodcast.com. Alternatively, you can find me on Index Gain or Twitter under the name Trading Bear. Thanks for listening and stay tuned for the mystery player.
Mystery player. Position.
Forward.
Start price.
£1.04.
Current price.
£1.33.
PB.
9p.
MB.
7p.
Dividend yield.
11.5%.
Trading Bear. Today's mystery player with his brand new shiny teeth. Roberto Firmino.